This is Dr. Peggy-semingson, Associate Professor of Curriculum and Instruction at the University of Texas at Arlington. This podcast series shares success tips from faculty on academic productivity. Views shared by faculty are their own. We are talking to Dr. Priscila Caçola, Assistant Professor of Kinesiology. Priscila, what are your best tips for staying productive in writing and publishing?
So I think that the best tip is to always remember that writing is rewriting. And I used to think of myself as a bad writer and I can't write anything good. But now I know that if I write a lot and if I rewrite it and if I edit it, it will be really good at the end. So it wasn't good at the beginning, it's not good in the middle, but it will be good at the end. So I think just remembering that writing is rewriting. There's no such a thing as expecting you to write well the first time or the second time. Also, I think seeing yourself as a writer makes a huge difference because our work is about being a writer. Everything we do has to be written and, just go out there. We write letters, we write reports, we write papers, we write grants. It's all about writing. If you don't write well and if you don't focus on it, you don't make that a priority, in your day, you're not doing the most important part of your job. Mm-hmm. I don't think we see ourselves as faculty enough as a writer. So I tend to see myself as a writer and tell people that this is what I do. I write and I read and I write. So if you always have that in the back of your mind, maybe it's easier to approach writing. Some people tend to be very fearful of writing. And, if that's what you do and you just need to get done, and know that you have to start writing so you can rewrite it. Mm-hmm. I do things like I write every day. I think that's important. Some, depending on the season of your career, that might not be possible, but I think it's important to have time. The best thing that works for me is to set a timer. I do 30 minutes to an hour. I turn off everything else and I just sit there and do it. And sometimes it's hard to get started, but I know it helps me to have some sort of a routine. So if I have a new project, I will set a time a day. So today I'm starting to work on a revision. So I'm going to work on it an hour every day for 15 days and I'm going to see where I am. So I kind of come up with, the way I want to split that project into the writing sessions. I will never work on anything more than an hour. And I especially enjoy to stop when I'm on a roll because it makes me want to go back. Some people just write until they're exhausted and then they can never go back to it. And you should stop when you're in a row and really write notes to yourself on where you should start the next day because it makes you want to go back. I love that excitement of waiting, just can't wait to sit down and continue. So
good.
Some tips.
Anything else you want to add about habits as an academic writer?
Sure. I think that I do tend to block time on my schedule for writing, and I do this in different parts of the days, depending on the project, depending on what I need to do. But I tend to block the schedule. It is important. It needs to be done. One thing that I learned about myself is that so I always tend to start everything with writing or anything that I do with writing because at the end of the day, it's really difficult for me to be creative. So I do most of my conceiving and coming up with ideas in the morning or early afternoon. If I try to have a writing time at 6 o'clock, that is not editing, just something that is a little more structured, I can't do it. It just doesn't work for me. So I tend to organize my schedule that way. Sometimes I like to do things like, if possible, I tend to do things like exercising or doing some sort of dumping activity like a to-do list or meditation, something that helps me kind of like being focused when I'm writing. That has been proved is very helpful in my process. I don't suffer over writing, so to me it's hard to think about, you know, the things that I did. They're just so embedded into my schedule, but I just do it. I just you know, I don't stare at a Word file that is all blank. I start copying, I start moving things around, I start writing ideas, not thinking about how they look like or, you know, whether they're grammatically correct. I just do it, and then I know it gets better. I save things every day. I save files every day with a date. So I have files of all of my writing sessions. It takes me about 30 to 40 versions of a paper for me to send it to publication. So, and I have all that logged. So I know that if I go back and delete something one day, I'll still have that file from the previous day. So those are things that I do. But I usually do not suffer over it. It's something, it's my work. So it is what it is. You know, I don't love it every day. I don't love most of the times. I never want to write. I just sit and do it.
I love it.
So that's what it is. So another thing that I do is I ask for feedback in different stages of the writing. So sometimes if I'm conceiving something, or if I have an idea, or if I need feedback on a discussion only, I will ask for that, and I have the people that I do that with, and it's really helpful to do that. It's not a formal writing group, but I think it's important to get feedback in different stages of the writing process. You know, and even also when I ask for feedback, I ask for feedback in one specific thing. You know, people are everybody's busy. You can't just say, "Can you read this for me and see what you think?" Yeah, well, I can think many things of it, but sometimes I'll go and ask for tone, you know, or, you know, maybe final editing, or this is what I'm trying to say. Am I saying this? So that is very helpful too.
I love it. Thank